Hello, hello! Welcome everyone to the Atlantic. We are rocking the Implacable. I always have to say it like that because, yeah, I just do. Implacable? Impossible? I don't know. Impossible for Phoenix 6-1 to say? Yep. Yes, this is the regular tech tree for the British carriers, right? So this is the tier 7. I think I might be like one upgrade away. Like, I think we still need to play this and grind through some of the some XP for this to get the last and final upgrade. But occasionally I just like playing with it, so yeah, that's what he said. But you know, so the cool thing about this, I really like the bombers on the for the British tier or British tech tree, right? So they have these like carpet bombs, and it's way easier to get hits. But your planes kind of are meh. You can get shot down pretty easily, and they fly real low. I think that's part of why they get shot down pretty easily. But the reason we turned around here is so we saw the enemy airplanes coming, the torpedo bombers from the other guy. And we were in his path, so we dropped our fighter there. And then he also dropped fighters, and so we turned away to make sure we didn't get wasted by his fighters, right? And he literally did almost the exact same thing. He had turned away from where we put our fighters as well. So, decent carrier player, at least for the start here, right? It is always beneficial to be pretty patient in the beginning of a game when you play as a carrier, especially these later tiers, to kind of let the battlefield kind of, discover the battlefield. So I do a lot of, like, I'll fly around and do some spotting, just to kind of see what's going on and help the team out. But basically, it's tough to find, in general, when you're playing as a carrier, you want to single out a target, right? And if you're flying over groups of battleships, groups of enemy battleships, you're just going to lose all your planes really quick, right? And that's, like, one, that sucks for that moment, because then you don't have any more planes to do any more runs with. But then two, they take way longer to kind of recharge or rebuild or respawn back at your carrier versus if they were able to fly back, right? So you won't have a lot of airplanes to play with late game if you're letting them kind of die off here in the beginning. So we want to be patient early on, right? So this Bismarck or whatever this was, this battleship here, somewhat by himself, but not really. You can see we're taking tons of fire. Oh, it's an Atlantic. Way off. But we did trigger second fire on him, so if he put that first one out, we might get some fire damage here, which would be really sweet early on. Oh, I'm hot in my house, so I'm taking my sweatshirt off. Guys are missing a show. Alright, so we'll switch to torps. This with the torpedo bombers here, you get you go down with two planes each. You get 4 runs basically. Sometimes I'll do pre-drops with this one, just depending on how how brutal of a situation I'm going into. But it's some people are just kind of like they're committed to those pre-drops and just always do it. But so what you would do is you would do a run of torpedoes and just dump them in the water right here, so that you've got planes flying back, right? So that saves them from getting shot down. Then you'll more likely to have a full squad for kind of the next few times that you do your new runs with torpedo bombers, right? So, but with the dive bombers, you only get 3, so it's kind of tough to unless you're really committed to just one run, you could do a pre-drop there. But yeah. One thing I do like about the British torpedo bombers, you can see the torpedo angle like really kind of hones in, so it's actually quite a bit easier to hit targets from the back or head on, whereas pretty much anybody else is pretty tough to do. And then we're using the little like shield consumable as we fly out. Right when we notice anti-air fire, we'll use that right away, and then we always try and save some of the like speed boost, the engine, the speed up function for a while we're flying over as well, to try and just limit our time over ships while being shot down, while being shot at by anti-air fire. So you'll see us do that quite a bit. And then that's kind of the other benefit of alternating between your torp bombers and your dive bombers. Is typically you've got fresh consumables either ready or almost ready, and I almost always use, I think I do always use fully packed for my commander perks, for the legendary perks for the aircraft carrier guys, because you get these extra, we've still got three consumables for fighters we can drop, so we're going to drop fighters over top of this destroyer on our team to try and help him mitigate the, it looks like their carrier is trying to keep our destroyer spotted, right? So that's one of the like kind of tactics that people like to go for, is if you're in the airplanes, you should go and try and spot the enemy destroyers. And that's fine, and they're always tougher to hit, right? So it's kind of this like give and take, right? You really have to rely on your team to help you out and shoot them if you are spotting them. But as the carrier, you can counter the enemy team doing that by flying over your own destroyers and putting fighters over top of them, right? So fighters go down really, really easily. They get shot down really easily by ships. So you want to be careful not to place them over top of, near enemy ships. But if you put them over top of your destroyer, typically they'll do okay, because the enemy, as long as there's not other battleships or other ships close to them, you should be pretty good. And should be able to help out. He'll appreciate it. Couldn't quite get the kill there on that one. So here's the situation. So I am normally 110% against going after, we're going to try and move the carrier up a little bit. If you didn't know that, you can autopilot using the map. I'm almost always against going after their carrier with your airplanes, because the anti-air is just insane. And not only that, it automatically launches fighters that are going to come and hunt you down as well. So you'll maybe get one run out of it, and that's it. But this situation with this ship, with the Implacable, with the dive bombers, with the carpet bomb, and then that Graf Zeppelin, I just don't know if that's a great, it's still really good for anti-air, right? Like all the carriers are. But I think people build that one out. I think that's one that you can build for having a good secondary build, the Graf Zeppelin. So he might not have his commander and stuff 100% anti-air. I almost always go 100% any perk that's anti-air that I can pick for my carrier commander. I do it because I just hate when other airplanes kind of rush me, right? I think the only other one that would be worth trying is if you're in the Soviet carriers, because their planes do a full run, all of their planes, if you're doing torpedo bombers. So we'll drop our fighter over top of this ship, this allied ship, to try and help. So I'm going to do a pre-drop here so that we don't lose all these planes, right? Because we know we're only going to get one run. So, basically you have two sacrificial planes coming along with you. There we go. We get some shot down with our fighters there. But yeah, like I was saying, so the Soviet carrier is kind of, if you use torpedo bombers, all the planes drop their torpedoes all at once. You don't have it doesn't go two at a time. So you could kind of bum rush an enemy carrier. But I just think that takes you kind of out of play. You really got to go and hunt him down, and that's all that time that you could be going after targets that are much closer. So it's just a risk reward, give and take, kind of like everything else in this game, right? So. But yeah, so since we didn't get, we were able to get a good hit on that enemy carrier so well with that first run of dive bombers, I went and did it again, right? So, and then now it looks like we've got him on fire as well, so we got damage ticking. So, normally I wouldn't do that, but since we were so successful with it, and we didn't lose a lot of planes because we did pre-dropping, I was like, all right, we should keep that up. We should see if we can't finish off this carrier. Because that'll be big. He literally is probably one of the easier, closer targets to us right now. Those look like we've got maybe battleship and a destroyer approaching our zone, if you look at the mini-map. So I don't know if this is probably not gonna be worth doing a run at here yet, because we got the fire, we got the kill with the fire, sweet. I was certain that our cruiser there was gonna be able to finish him off, but I guess not. We've still got fighters out over top of our allied cruiser there, so hopefully they go after these last torpedo bombers. It looks like they're chasing him. We're looking back at it, you could see where our fighters are going in relation to his torpedo bombers, but I don't know if they do it while I think they only go after him if they're not in the middle of a run. I'm not 100% sure on that. Somebody let me know if you're aware. So we'll go after this battleship, who looks like he's been slacking off this whole game, doesn't have any damage taken yet. And then we'll use our shield consumable. That just basically helps mitigate a little bit of anti-air fire, but it really only lasts 10 seconds, so it's kind of, use it when you got it. If you're taking fire, use them. Use up those consumables. get nothing for having him saved later. So we triggered a flood here, but I think we might be too quick with this this second run. Like, he might have damage control still going. So it's kind of like, do I try and get one more? Like, if I do survive, like, it's going to be one plane, right? Yeah, like... But, like, just for the chance to try and trigger another flood would be sweet, right? Because at this point, he's out of damage con, right? So we'll go in with, we'll switch to bombers just because they're easier to hit with. Although I don't have any more engine cooldown boosty thingies. And as you can see, we did keep moving our carrier around the map. You know, you still want to maintain the thought of, like, not getting spotted and kind of staying back. But you also want to don't put yourself too far away from the fight, so that you're spending half your game time trying to fly towards enemy ships, right? So I see a lot of people, they take the safe route, which is, like, fine, like, if that's what you're confident with, or they'll just hit reverse on their carrier and just leave it in the back of the map. But if you want to maximize your, like, damage output and your contribution to the game, you definitely want to move your carrier around the map strategically so that you can, you know, so it doesn't, so your time to target per se, you know, it's like, you know, getting from your carrier to the enemy, it doesn't take you, you know, 3 or 4 minutes each run, right? You're not spending all this time flying. So we'll keep going after this guy. I'm a little concerned where their destroyer went, right? So we've got a battleship, which is not great at hunting down destroyers. And then our battleship keeps calling for support, and I almost came to, like, help him. Like, I almost went, because I was assuming he was spotted and or getting torpedoed. But their destroyer shows up in a little bit and is nowhere near our battleship. So I'm like, dude, like, do not, like, you know, don't call for help if you don't need it, because, like, you're just preventing me from, like, contributing to the, you know, you're screwing up your teammates' ability to really actually help contribute to the game, right? So I have no idea why he kept calling for support here. I think he does it even more. So it was, like, super frustrating. I'm like, man, like, because I wasn't spotted, so I'm like, I don't know where that, you know, that kind of eliminates the, you know, at least that section of, like, where that destroyer can't be, you know. But, like, he was closer to our base, and I was like, all right, maybe the destroyer's going for our base. But so I'm glad I just kept going, you know. But, like, normally, like, if it was like, you know, if I was in a division with somebody and I was, like, chatting with them and they were like, hey, this destroyer's over here, I'm spotted, then I'd be definitely for sure be going over there. But look, there's their destroyer right by their own zone. So, like, you know, I made the right call, but, like, in hindsight, like, I feel like I should have helped. But yeah, because, you know, if we run into that situation where their destroyer went for our base, even if he didn't capture it, you know, I could spot the destroyer and our battleship could shoot at him to, like, reset the cap. But then we're not, and if it's a point situation, then we wouldn't have been gaining points on our base, right? So you get, like, these +2 every so many seconds or whatever. So that probably would have, like, contributed to, like, us, like, losing in that situation. But for the time being, like, I was like, oh man, I'm really glad I didn't listen to him. We'll take the full squad here. There's really, at this late stage in the game, there's no sense in dropping planes early anymore. And then our battleship is spotted. You can tell because the sort of the spotting range line on the mini map is orange, as well as in the very bottom left of the screen you can see a little orange eyeball, right? So take kind of a bad shot at that battleship there. Or the destroyer, sorry, yeah. With the carpet bomb on, you know, with the British carriers, it is a little bit easier to, like, get hits, but yeah. And it's a little bit nicer because if you're in a situation where you're trying to prevent the enemy from capping your zone, sometimes you can get close enough to do, like, the splash damage where it'll count as a hit, but you don't really do damage, but it'll reset the capture, right? So we don't have enough time on the clock or to, like, circle around. We would probably lose a bunch more planes, so took advantage of the fact that we're dropping carpet bombs there and just, you know, went at him from the side, which was, like, fine. But yes, ideally you want to go, you know, bow to stern, stern to bow. You want to be lined up with him. So yeah, this match I was kind of surprised at how well we ended up doing, seeing as how I ended up, fighting their carrier basically, which usually I don't have a lot of success with. But I think just because of the carrier that we were in versus the carrier he was in, with these carpet bombs, like it worked out really well, and we were able to trigger fires. And his, with the aircraft carriers, the damage triggers automatically. So if you trigger any sort of incapacitation or fire or anything, so between me and that cruiser that was over there, yeah, that puts us at the top of the leaderboard. Hell yeah, sweet. Yeah, it just was, we triggered that fire that burned, and then that's how we ended up getting the kill, right? So made about 200 grand in silver, in booty. We'll go through the commander really quick. So we're using Dennis Boyd here. But yeah, like I said, so this one is HE, the aircraft carrier's HE bomb damage. For a second, I was like, why do I have HE shell damage? But the fourth line there, if you're looking at the bottom right over there, does give me better HE. So, and since we like the carpet bombers here, I picked that perk for inspiration, right? But torpedo speed is kind of dumb. I don't know why I'm using this. This is a carrier commander, right? Yeah, it is. I'll maybe switch to. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. I usually pick stuff like this, AA damage per second, right? So I'm not sure why I had that. Maybe when I first got this one, I did like the torpedo bombers quite a bit. So maybe I was doing that to just help with torpedoes. But yeah. So skip bomber detectability, since we use dive bomber detectability, since I like using those more, I'm kind of buffing the planes that I like the most. So that's kind of what my rationale. And then yeah, I'm almost always using fully packed here. I got enough to put them at 16. I don't have a lot of commander type currencies right now at the moment, right? Well, that's Implacable. Thank you guys so much for watching through the whole video. If you liked the video, please push the like button. If you didn't like the video, I guess don't do that then, right? That doesn't make sense. But please do subscribe to the channel. I am trying to put World of Warships videos out every single day. If you know me and my channel, we do play pretty much a little bit of everything, right? So I like to mix it up in life, right? So, but thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.